Perfect. Okay. So, as we said before, my name is Izzy.
My name is Kashfi.
We're from Oaktown High School, Get to Green, and we're focusing on the restoration of the habitat and outdoor classroom inside of the woodland on Oakton's campus. So the problems we've identified in our woodland and outdoor classroom is that there are many invasive species taking over. There's a lack of diversity, primarily due to deer browse. There are colonies of natives at risk of being crowded out, and there's also a lack of awareness and use of the outdoor classroom itself.
Our project will take place in Oakton High School, which is a part of the Chesapeake Bay watershed, specifically the Accotank Creek watershed. The highlighted boxes show the woodland at Oakton and the Phase 1 area that we are working in this school year. These are some pictures of the outdoor classroom inside the woodland at Oakton.
So our methodology and or solution to this problem are as follows. We're doing invasive removal, native plant installation, bolstering infrastructure, and increasing engagement and awareness school and community-wide about the outdoor classroom and woodland space. So starting off with invasive removal, hosting work days after school to clean up the space. This was our first on April 9th, and we did it with Fairfax Prism. As you can see in the photos, we've removed quite a bit of invasive vines in autumn olive. Here's another removal day we had on the weekend. We did this with an IMA site leader, and we used targeted herbicide to kill all the autumn olives on the edge. Moving on to native plant installation, we really started this process last year by planting shrubs in December. The photo on the bottom was a drawing I made of the design. We're using an applied nucleation strategy, and as part of that, we got fencing that Fairfax Prism helped us install around the native shrubs to create pods, as we call them. This was another installation workday. We wanted to replace the autumn olive we removed with native trees along the edge. We received the trees from Fairfax Relief and protected them with individual tubes. On April 25th, these are some of the native forbs that we decided to plant inside of the existing 4 pods that we created. Then on the 30th, we put up 3 new pods and created a big pod in the center of the previous 4 and planted these shrubs and forbs. So here's a better visual of all of that. The image to the left is what it looks like on the left of the path going into the woodland, 4 pods with twine blocking off the center to create one big pod. And to the right is what it looks like to the right of the path where there's 3 pods. For bolstering infrastructure, we created a small brush pile before winter for insects. Our future plans are to create a more structured looking dead hedge, to create a more formal entrance to the woodland and outdoor classroom, art installations like mandalas, and clearer walkways and trails. So this is all the organizations we work with so far. Just to name a few, I'm in the Youth Conservation Leadership Institute with the Soil and Water Conservation District with this project specifically. They also connected me with a mentor from the Northern Virginia Bird Alliance who provides expertise. And SEWA is an organization that Kashfi is a board member on, and they have also contributed to our work days.
Inside of Oakton, we are planning to work with the art department to install sculptures in the outdoor classroom. Izzy mentioned mandalas previously, and we are planning for AP Art History students after AP exams to create these temporary art installations. Additionally, we are planning to work with the AP Human Geography classes, as after AP exams, the student on a final UN sustainability project, and we can have these students incorporate part of their project to where they do some work in the outdoor classroom, which will get more students involved. Currently, we have increased our outreach significantly. We have started to post on Instagram more frequently and encourage students to join our Schoology group through advisory lessons and announcements, which have doubled the number of members in our club. Additionally, on the right, you'll see some of the flyers that Izzy and I created for our past events.
So really throughout this project, I've used the wildlife sanctuary certification requirements as a framework for the objectives of this project. We're going to apply for this closer to the end of the school year as sort of a measurable end goal to our phase 1 efforts. Signage is also just another great way of bringing visibility to the space in the project. In the future, we can get even more signage explaining the work being done in the woodland as well.
We will make our project sustainable through transitioning our project from the seniors to the freshmen or sophomores at Oakton. Additionally, we are going to continue to monitor and plan more ways in which we can expand our project, which can be achieved through continuing to expand our partnerships with local organizations. So these are the UN Sustainable Development Goals that we are focusing on. And this is our proposed budget for phase 1 of our project.
Wonderful, Jen.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's cool. I've just been like emailing back and forth with your teachers, so it's like really cool just seeing it all come together and seeing your faces. Um, yeah, big and bright things for both of you ahead. I know it. So I'm going to just pass it right over to the judges for their questions and comments, and feel free to expound more on any of the things you feel like you could have talked more about.
This is such a cool project. I really appreciate the depth of engagement you've had with other community partners and with looking at, external sources of information for coming up with your learning objectives so you can apply for those certifications to get those pillars and posters. It's amazing. I'm really intrigued by one of the outcomes you mentioned, which was increased awareness of the outdoor classroom. Out of all of the objectives that you had for this project, that's the one where I'm not sure I heard. How will you know if you're successful and there is more awareness of the outdoor classroom?
So we're gonna increase the awareness of the outdoor classroom through the collaborations that we've mentioned with the local organizations such as SEWA. SEWA has around 112 students involved throughout the DMV area, and we're also working with as you mentioned, the Northern Virginia Bird Alliance and the Soil and Water Conservation District, as well as students within Oakton. And we've also reached out to the AP art history teachers and we've talked to the art department and they're willing to be a part of this project and create art installations and we can measure how many people how many students are getting involved because we have these work days and we're actually doing like community events like we did on the 25th and just getting so many more people. Like in the community event, the last one that we had we didn't have as many people from the community. It was mainly from Oakton, and I think that when we're going to create more collaborations with SEWA and also with a bunch of other organizations, like I'm thinking I'm also involved in Rajasthani Youth Community, which is like a Hindu faith-based volunteering organization, and as well as like multiple other organizations that Izzy had mentioned. And because there's so many people involved in all these organizations, I think that we can create like a measurable, like tangible impact and creating more awareness and engagement within these community workdays and like increasing the number of people who come to our community workdays.
I think maybe,
That's amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna add on, I don't, maybe the measurable part of that too is we did surveys at the beginning of this project where we asked teachers and students if they knew about the outdoor classroom and if they ever used it. And we got a lot of feedback from that. We could potentially do another one of those surveys at the end of this school year and see how that data compares. If we have much more people saying that they've used the outdoor classroom, know what's going on in the outdoor classroom, and same with students as well.
Love that. I encourage you to track data and to do before and after surveys so you can keep applying for those other goals that you have.
Yeah, so what a wonderful presentation, guys. Some things kind of stood out to me. So the first is the fact that you guys are adopting like a wildlife sanctuary certification requirement, just as a building and measuring stick for your goals, which shows this is a real strategic thinking, and you are not just setting like a very vague objective. And secondly, another thing that kind of was stood out to me in the course of your presentation was framing this as a phase 1, So this kind of was signals that you kind of see this as an ongoing effort and not just a one-time project. So, but just one very question which I have for you guys. So you made mention of applying the wildlife sanctuary certification as an end goal, to my understanding. So what would it mean to your group if they didn't get it on the first try, and how would that kind of shape your phase two going forward?
Well, if we didn't get it, then we'd certainly ask what requirements we didn't meet, and certain those different aspects would be probably the centerpiece of the next phase. Um, I think from what we've done that I think we would meet those requirements. And also the really awesome thing about the wildlife certification is that they're very lenient and they want to see that you're trying towards those things. They won't net if you haven't met certain things, they might give it to you as sort of like an encouragement to continue the work that you're doing. But if we didn't get it, then that would just spur us on for the next phase, I think. I'm sorry, I don't know if that perfectly answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Good job,
Okay,
guys.
thank you.
I have a question for you all. I'm wondering if you can talk, just like imagine what this space looks like 5 years from now, because it seems like you have some good ideas of like this is the start of the project and there are things that will come next, like the art installations, the entrance, the path, and continuing to have these student work days and beautification projects that you're doing more use of the space. So I'm just curious, what does that look like? Do you think? Like if you came back in 5 years after you graduated from Virginia Tech, what do you hope to see?
Uh, well, I'd really hope to see, first of all, that the little Earthsinga plants that we planted are at least like a foot because they're so tiny when we get them. But sometimes it's hard to visualize the space because of that. But I'd really love to see, the thing that I focused on first, or before I even started focusing on the awareness piece of it, was restoring the shrub layer, because of the deer browse. It's basically a monoculture in there. It's just New York ferns and round leaf greenbrier, which is a shrub, but it's only in certain areas, and there's just a lot of barren places. Not much diversity, not much ecological value. So I'd really love to see that layer come back in there, the shrub layer, and also the subcanopy level as well would be great. Um, so hopefully I would see that on an ecological side of it, but the awareness and engagement side of it, I would really love, and I've said this before to Miss Monjunio, I'd love to see Get You Green with these projects sort of become like a DECA-like club. I'd love to see us involved in more competitions, in more events like workshops, helping other schools do these kind of projects because I know other schools have outdoor classrooms and woodlands that aren't being utilized as well. And if we do a good job with this, I'd love to see us mentoring other people or other schools as well. Let's see. What else? What else?
In terms of like art installations and like beautification of the wildlife sanctuary, like I feel like that would like really catch a lot more students' eyes as well. Like currently there are some students who like kind of just like throw plastic in like the outdoor classroom or like just random stuff. And like maybe if they see that it's like for such a like important purpose, like the restoration of the woodland and everything, like maybe they'll stop doing that as well. And like a cleaner wildlife sanctuary too. And like we also I've had like some ideas of like having colorful flowers that like kind of make a trail in the wildlife in the outdoor classroom. Or like working with the art department for these like mandalas like we mentioned and like carving into like logs like little animals like sculptures like that like big sculptures like we're thinking like really big for like next year and the years after that. And I feel like that would like catch a lot more students' eyes and they'd be more willing to be a part of the projects going on in the outdoor classroom.
That's awesome. Thank you for that vision. I'm so excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
great job, guys. I don't have any questions for you because you did amazing. I just want to give you a round of applause because this was such a well thought out project. Like it is fully rounded from the community engagement to the native plants that you installed. Great job. Great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
the fact that you're like, what is the measurable impact at every single step along the way? It's oh, a dream. Like, yes, you need to be leading workshops like for adults. So yeah. Well, this is